So I'll be taking Karen through a full body CARs routine. This is something that you can do every day. And this is basically going to wake up every joint in your body. So I will get Karen to stand. We're going to go through something called irradiation. So what this means is full body tension. So I want her to drive her feet into the ground, engage through her legs, through her glutes, tall through her spine, engaged in the abdomen. I want her engaged through her whole body. So if I go to move her, she should be solid. What that's going to do is it's going to limit the amount of compensations. Oftentimes when we don't have enough workspace in a joint, our body is going to compensate, and we're going to do mini shifts through the torso or whatever it is to make sure that we get that movement. The more irradiated you are, the less compensations you're going to have, and the more tissue adaptation you're going to have. So the more your body is involved, the more signaling you're going to get to that joint, the more neural feedback there will be. So what I want her to do is we'll start with the neck. I want her to irradiate in her whole body, and I want her to begin drawing her chin down towards her chest into neck flexion. Maxing out neck flexion here. She's going to rotate to the right, shoulder checking to the right side, watching for any pain. If she's getting any pain in the direction that she's moving in, I want her to ease off that angle. From here, she's going to go into lateral flexion, dropping her ear towards her shoulder, making sure she's not shrugging her shoulder up towards her ears. From here, she's going to come back into extension, looking up to the sky, drawing a rainbow with her chin all the way to the other side, side bending to the left. If she's feeling pain here, ease off. You should be feeling a good opening on the right side. From here, shoulder checking over the left shoulder, and then carving her collarbone with her chin all the way back down to center. That's one revolution. We'll do another one in that same direction. Shoulder checking to the right, side bending, dropping that ear down, making sure that shoulder stays down, coming up into extension, drawing a rainbow with her chin all the way to the other side, making sure she's not shifting through her torso, side bending, shoulder checking over the left shoulder, and then coming through all the way back down to center, staying in this flexed position. I want her to shoulder check over her left shoulder, dropping that ear down into side bend, coming up into extension, looking up to the sky, coming all the way to the other side, making sure that shoulder stays down, shoulder check over the right shoulder, come all the way around, continue that rotation, dropping that ear down, good, extend up, drawing a rainbow with your chin, side bend, rotate, and then carving that collarbone all the way up, and then keeping that chin tucked. She's going to segment up vertebrae by vertebrae, coming back up to neutral, moving slowly through this. Good. From here, we're going to move into thoracic CARs. I want her to take a wider stance, and that's going to limit the amount of pelvis shifting. So here, I want her to stay engaged, glutes are engaged, tall through the spine. I want her to give herself a big hug, and without moving the rest of her body, I want her to start curling over into thoracic flexion. So trying to get her head towards her belly button. The movement is smaller here. From here, maxing out thoracic flexion, she's going to rotate to the right, dropping that right shoulder down into a side bend, opening up through the left side. Again, if you're feeling any pain through here, ease off the angle. She's going to extend, bringing her chest up towards the ceiling, trying to move through all of her vertebrae in her thoracic spine, not just hinging through one point. Side bending to the other side, feeling a good stretch on this right side, and then rotating, and then coming back down to center in that flexed position. Staying in that flexed position, she's going to continue that rotation to the right, maxing out rotation, dropping that right shoulder down towards that hip, opening up that left side. Chest finds the ceiling. She's going to come into thoracic extension as she comes all the way around, all the while irradiated through the rest of her body, side bending to the left, rotating to the left, and then coming through in that flexed position back to center. Staying in that flexed position, she's going to rotate to the left, Keeping that chin tucked, she's gonna drop that left shoulder, opening up the right side, coming up into extension, moving through all of her vertebrae in her thoracic spine, side bending to the right, rotating, coming through to center, moving slowly through this. Good, one more time, rotating through the left, dropping that left shoulder down, making sure we're not shifting through the pelvis. Chest finds the ceiling as we come up into extension, side bending to the right, rotating to the right, and then coming through to center. Awesome. From here, we're gonna move into the shoulder. And then she's gonna segment up, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way back up. So next we'll do our scapular CARs. So what I want her to do is find an externally rotated position. So she's gonna supinate. What that's gonna limit when coming into pronation is an internal rotation of the shoulder joint. From here, we'll work through one shoulder at a time. So we'll work with the right shoulder first, and we wanna just isolate our scapula here. So what I want her to do is begin moving her scapula into the front quadrant of her body, coming into protraction. From here, she's gonna shrug her shoulder blade up towards her ear, coming into elevation. From here, she's gonna squeeze her shoulder blade back into retraction, and then depress, pulling her shoulder blade down towards her hip, coming back around into protraction, gliding into the front quadrant, shrugging up into elevation, keeping the rest of her body stable, finding retraction, so squeezing her shoulder blade back, good, and then lowering down into depression. So staying in this retracted place, now she's gonna find elevation, squeezing that shoulder blade up, glide forward into protraction as she depresses her shoulder blade down towards her hip, find retraction, squeeze that shoulder blade back, elevate up, shrugging up towards her ear, good, gliding forward, and then coming down into depression. Awesome. Moving to the other side. So find that supinated position with your arm. We're gonna glide forward into protraction, good, up into elevation, shrugging up towards your ear, retract, squeeze that shoulder blade, depress down, shoulder blade finds her hip, gliding forward, coming into the front quadrant, moving up into elevation, find retraction, good, and depression. Now staying in this retracted position, she's gonna elevate, shrugging her shoulder blade up, glide forward into protraction. In protraction, she's gonna depress down, finding retraction. She's gonna squeeze her shoulder blade, good, elevate up, glide forward into protraction, and then depression. So from here, we're gonna move into her shoulder. So she's gonna make a fist with both arms, and then she's gonna externally supinate with her right arm. So she's gonna come into as much external rotation as she comes across her midline, coming into adduction. Maxing that out, she's gonna bring her bicep towards her ear, coming into shoulder flexion. From here, she's gonna initiate from her bicep, coming into internal rotation, so turning that palm out, making sure she's not shifting anywhere else as she comes all the way around. When her hand meets her side, her palm should be facing out. She's in internal rotation here. Now she's gonna come into extension, keeping her arm as close to her midline as possible. From here, she's gonna begin unwinding out of internal rotation into external rotation. Bicep is gonna find the ear, shoulder blade stays down. Continuing that external rotation as she comes across her midline. Good, coming back down. Second revolution, making sure she's maxing out external rotation, coming across midline. Keeping that shoulder blade down, bicep finds the ear. Initiating from the bicep, turning into internal rotation. Coming all the way back down to the side. Palm should be facing out. Keeping the rest of the body stable, she's gonna find extension. Good, maxing out extension there, beginning to unwind. Bicep finds the ear. Good, maxing out external rotation as she comes all the way around. Awesome, switching to the other side. Making sure she's stable through the rest of her body. Externally rotate, arm comes across midline, bicep finds the ear, shoulder blade stays down, internally rotate. Good, continue that rotation. Palm should be facing out as hand meets the side. Good, locking that arm as close to the midline as possible. Find extension. Good, begin unwinding. Bicep finds the ear, irradiated through the rest of the body, limiting any compensations. Continue that external rotation as you come across midline. Good, second revolution, come across midline. Bicep finds the ear, shoulder blade stays down. Good, internally rotate, initiating from the shoulder joint, not just through the wrist and the elbow. Good, hand meets the side. Staying close to midline, we're gonna extend. Begin unwinding that rotation as bicep finds the ear. Good. Externally rotate as you come all the way across. Awesome. From here, we're going to be working through elbow CARs. We'll do it bilateral. So what I want her to think about is keeping her elbows glued to the sides of her torso. From here, she's going to stay irradiated through the rest of her body. She's going to max out supination, so palms are going to turn forward. From here, she's going to bend at her elbows, bringing her palms towards her biceps. From here, she's going to turn her palms away from her, finding pronation. She's going to straighten her arms, moving slowly through here. Like air is 50% thicker, she's going to find supination, turning those palms forward, elbows stay locked to the side, hands find the biceps, maxing out elbow flexion, find pronation, so palm turns away, making sure we're not rotating through the shoulder joint, just through the elbow joint, straighten those arms. Good, now staying in pronation, I want her to bring her palms towards her shoulders. Good, supinate, so turn those palms towards, straighten those arms. Find pronation. Good, palms turn towards you, flex through the elbows. Good, supinate, max out as much supination as possible, keeping those palms firm, like karate chop hands, and then we're gonna straighten out. Awesome. From here, we'll work through wrist CARs. So we'll come into a 90-degree position. We'll work through both wrists at the same time. Again, she wants to keep her arms close to her body, and the forearms we want facing the ceiling. We don't want to be rotating through the forearm. We want to just isolate our wrist joint here. So from here, she's going to, with firm hands and not buckling through the knuckles, she's going to bring her pinkies towards her midline. She's going to drop her fingers towards the ground, coming into extension as she comes all the way around, and then coming up into flexion. Fingers find the ceiling. Good. Coming all the way across, making sure we're not moving through the forearm. Fingers find the ground, coming into extension. Good. Coming back up into flexion, fingers find the ceiling, making sure we're not buckling through the knuckles. From here, we're gonna come out, leading with the thumb, coming out into extension. Good. Adduction, coming close to midline, fingers find the ceiling. Good. Coming all the way across, thumbs lead down into adduction. Movement is gonna be small in that direction. Good, finding extension and coming back up. Good, awesome. So after our wrist CARs, we're gonna move into our hip CARs. So I'm gonna take her to these bars. It helps if you have something to grab on. If you don't, a wall works just fine. So we'll work with her outside hip first. Again, I want her irradiated through her entire body. With a straight leg, she's gonna come across her midline into adduction. From here, she's gonna bring her knee and her ankle as high up as possible, finding external rotation and hip flexion. From here, she's gonna drop her ankle down, find abduction, so move that knee out towards her side, making sure she's not shifting in the pelvis. As soon as she gets a shift in the pelvis, she's gonna stop there. From here, she's gonna lock that knee in place and she's gonna find internal rotation. So bringing her ankle up towards her face, maxing that out and maintaining that internal rotation. She's gonna come all the way around, and then her knee is gonna meet her other knee. Good. From here, she's gonna lock in through her abdomen and make sure she's not moving through her lower back. This is just coming from the hip. I want her to bring her knee towards me into hip extension. Good. From here, she's gonna begin that external rotation, so lifting that knee up towards the sky, as high up as possible as she comes all the way around. Maxing out hip flexion here. External rotation as she comes all the way back down. Good. Second revolution, she's gonna come across her midline, finding that external rotation, dropping that ankle under, bringing her knee out towards her side into abduction, locking that knee in place. She's gonna find her ankle towards her face as she comes all the way around, making sure she's not shifting too much through the pelvis or the torso. Good. Knee meets the other knee, locking that abdomen in place. She's gonna kick back behind her into extension. Good. She's gonna lift that knee up as high as she can in space as she comes all the way around. Finding abduction, hip flexion, all the way back down. Awesome. We're gonna switch sides here. So working through her left leg, she's gonna irradiate through her body. She's gonna come across her midline. Good. Finding adduction. She's gonna lift her knee and ankle as high up as possible, like a hacky sack motion. Once she maxes that out, she's gonna drop her ankle underneath, finding abduction, making sure there's no shift or turning in her pelvis, locking that knee in space, finding internal rotation, coming all the way back around. Tension through the rest of the body to limit compensations. From here, strong through the abdomen. She's gonna kick behind her into extension. Good, and then she's gonna begin unwinding, lifting that knee up as high as possible as she comes all the way around, finding that external rotation, and then slowly lowering with control. Awesome. Second revolution, coming across her midline, lifting up into hip flexion and external rotation, dropping that ankle under, turning that knee out towards her side. Good. Lifting that ankle up into internal rotation, maintaining that as she comes all the way around. Good. Knee meets the other knee. Locking that abdomen in place, not moving through the low spine. She's going to kick back into extension. Good. She's going to bring that knee up as high as possible as she comes all the way around, finding hip flexion and external rotation, and then slowly decelerating down. Good. Awesome job. So from here, we're gonna work through knee CARs. We're gonna do this in a seated position. So I'm gonna get her to scoop her right arm underneath her leg and then grab a hold onto her opposite bicep, and that's gonna lock out her femur. We only wanna be moving through the knee joint here. So here, I want her to find external tibial rotation. So she's gonna dorsiflex her ankle, bringing the top of her foot up towards her face. She's gonna turn her foot out into external rotation. We don't wanna be just moving through the ankle. We wanna be moving through this entire lower portion of the leg. From here, she's gonna irradiate through the rest of her body. She's gonna extend, straightening her leg about 2/3 of the way. From here, she's gonna find internal rotation, so turning the lower part of her leg in as her heel finds her butt, coming into knee flexion. Good. Turning back out into external rotation. Good. Straightening that leg about 2/3 of the way. Find internal rotation. Good. And then bring that heel back down, bending into knee flexion. Now staying in this internally rotated position, she's going to straighten her leg back up. Good. Find external rotation, turning that foot out. Good. And she's going to come into knee flexion, bringing that heel towards her butt. Finding internal rotation, turning that foot in. Good. Extend up about 2/3 of the way. Externally rotate, and then heel finds the butt. Good. from here, we can actually work through ankle CARs. So instead of blocking out her femur, she can block out the lower part of her leg. That's going to limit the movement from her tibia, and we're only trying to isolate our ankle here. Again, if this is too much hip flexion, you can come out, you can put your leg on a block, or you can work on a chair. So whatever works best for you. So here, what I'm going to get her to do is I'm going to get her to gas pedal her ankle all the way down into plantar flexion. From here, she's going to turn into inversion, bringing her big toe towards her as she comes up into dorsiflexion. So top of her foot finds her face. She's going to draw a mini rainbow all the way to the other side, leading down with her big toe. She's going to find plantar flexion once again. Big toe comes in towards her midline. Good, dorsiflex, top of the foot comes towards her face as she comes across. Big toe leads down. Good, from here, coming back up to neutral, we're gonna lead pinky. But from neutral, oh yeah. So I should have brought you all the way back up. Sorry, you can cut all that stuff out, right? So from here, from a neutral position, she's gonna lead down with her pinky side. Good, coming into plantar flexion, leading up with her pinky side, coming into a dorsiflexed position, coming all the way across, leading down with her pinky side. Good. Staying stable in the rest of her body, she's going to lead up with her pinky, all the way up into dorsiflexion, coming across, leading down with the pinky, and coming back to neutral. From here, we're going to switch sides. So we'll work with knee CARs. She's going to take her left arm underneath her leg. She's going to grab hold of her bicep on the other side, and she's going to block out her femur, making sure that we're just moving through this lower part of our leg. Sitting up tall, she's going to dorsiflex that ankle. Top of the foot finds her face. She's going to turn that foot out into external rotation, straightening that leg up 2/3 of the way. Good. Find internal rotation, turn that foot in. Good. Bring that heel towards your butt. Find external rotation, turning out, straightening that leg. Good. Internal rotation. Bring that heel towards your butt. Now keeping this internal rotation, she's going to straighten back up. Good. Finding external rotation, moving through this entire lower portion of her leg, bringing that heel down towards her butt. Good. Finding internal rotation, straightening up. External rotation, and coming back down. Moving down to her ankles. She's going to block out the lower part of her tibia. And from here, she's going to gas pedal down into plantar flexion. She's going to come into her midline with her big toe as she finds dorsiflexion, bringing the top of her foot towards her face. She's going to come all the way around, leading down with the big toe. Good. As she gas pedals down, big toe finds her face, coming up into dorsiflexion, coming all the way across. Good. And coming back to neutral. From here, she's going to gas pedal down, and she's going to come up, leading up with her pinky. Good. Coming into dorsiflexion, coming all the way across, leading down with her pinky side of her foot. Gas pedaling down. Finding that small movement here as she dorsiflexes all the way up. Good. Coming all the way across and leading down with the pinky toe. Good. To end our CARs here, we're just going to do some toe CARs. So she's going to work with both feet at the same time. So she's going to practice planting down her outer 4 toes and lifting up her big toe. Good. Decelerating down, touching the floor down, lifting up the big toe again. Good. Coming back down. We'll do that one more time, lifting that big toe up. Good. Dropping it back down to the floor. From here, keeping the big toe down, lifting the outer 4 toes up off the ground. Good. Lowering down. A couple more times, keeping that big toe down, lifting the outer 4 up. Good. Lowering down. One more time. Keeping that big toe down, lifting the outer four up. Good, lowering down. From here, she's gonna lift all of her toes off, and she's gonna piano one at a time, starting from her pinky. Moving one at a time. Big toe comes down last. We don't want to be rotating through the foot, so we're anchoring through the foot, lifting all toes up, pianoing one at a time. This takes practice. And one more time, lifting all the way up and pianoing down. Awesome. Hey, so CARs is something that you can incorporate into a daily routine. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes once you have the patterns grooved out. And if you're doing morning CARs, I would suggest doing about 30% irradiation. But if you're wanting to ramp that up and actually get a training session out of it, ramp it up to about 80% irradiation, and you'll see some really incredible results. We want to be doing this to maintain joint health and proper range of motion of our joints. Let us know if you have any questions.